company. Paper 4 is Mitigating Climate Change for Food Security by Mr. Daire Akobo, Chairman, CEO of Panam Holdings. Panam Holdings. Paper 5 is by Professor Charles Anosike. Mitigating Climate Change for Food Security is the title of the paper and is to be presented. Professor Charles Anosike is the Director General and CEO of Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIMET. Is he around, please? It's serious. It's serious. Because these people have been on our neck since yesterday. And now I told them our 9 is our 9. Mr. Chairman.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, we ask every one of us to be patient as we shall be commencing this session very, very soon. Just to remind you once more that this section is actually fully packed. Apologies for the delay in commencing at this time. We actually have very rich paper presentations. The presenters are close to arriving at these events. Just as the chairman of the technical committee has announced, paper one will be based on research output and innovative concepts on climate change adaptation. To continue, please, if you have missed your ATM card and various ATM cards, you can please come forward for identification. Paper 2 will be based on the effects of energy management and climate change on food security. Paper 3 will be based on renewable energy and energy solutions for rural farming communities. Paper 4 is mitigating climate change for food security, and then paper 5 will be mitigating climate change for food security, again, to show the importance of what we are doing. Just arriving is the president of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, Engineer Margaret of Engineers. Can we please make her welcome to these sessions? You are welcome, man. Also seated at this event is a past president of the Nigerian Society of Engineers who served in the year 2010 to 2011. Please make welcome Engineer O.A. Ajibola, FNSE, FA Eng. You are very, very much welcome, sir. While we await this session to commence, may I use this opportunity to equally recognize at this event our international delegates who have come here all the way from their countries to enjoy and have this section and this conference with us. We have here the President, Engineer Kwabena Bempong. Please put your hands together for him. Once more, you're welcome. We have the President-elect Engineer Lodwick A. Hasse. You're welcome once again. We have the Executive Director, Engineer David K. Inyate. You are welcome. We have Engineer Sophia A. Tijani, the Vice President. You are welcome once again. And we have Engineer Dr. Kwame Bukie, the Chairman, Engineering Council of Ghana. You are welcome. And Engineer Isaac Bedu, the Registrar, Engineering Council of Ghana. Also here present, we have the Institution of Engineers of Kenya, the President, Engineer Munyoki Shama Kiteme. You are very, very much welcome. He is the moderator for this second plenary session. We have Engineer Eric Ohaga, the immediate past president. You're welcome. We have Ogut Christine Odongo, the second vice president. We have Engineer Achieng Jackton Mwembe, the honorary secretary. From the Sierra Leone Institution of Engineers, we have Engineer Oba Jones, the President. You are welcome. The Vice President, Engineer Loretta Dumbuya. You're welcome. And we have the, okay, I've not seen Engineer Trudy Morgan. Then from Liberia, we have the President, Engineer Dudley Toole. You are welcome. And he's here with his amiable wife, Wani Nancy Shannon. So may I request the media group to give us some displays, adverts, display the logos of partners, strategic partners, our sponsors for this event, to keep us waiting for a while we come back to continue these sessions. Thank you. While we have the adverts ready to play, may I also recognize a Vice President of the Nigerian Society of Engineers here present, Engineer Joseph Sunday Adebayo, FNSE. He is the Vice President in charge of Engineering, Technology, and Innovations Management. You're welcome, sir. Can we now have our adverts? Please, Engineer Felix Olu, if you are here, please approach the technical committee table. You have a message. Engineer Felix Olu, or anyone who knows he is around, should please call him, inform him to come to the technical table. Please take your time and watch the advert of our sponsors and partners for this conference. Thank you. Please, all the young engineers, your program have started. It is good to go and enjoy your package. Please, young engineers, your program has commenced. Move to your venue. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, can we now please be seated and calm as we begin this session? May I invite the chairman of the technical committee once again, Engineer Professor OAU Uche FNSC.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I crave your indulgence that the speakers are on their way coming, but not to keep you waiting. I want to invite the moderator of today, and that's so that you can begin with our own in-house speaker. And the moderator, who have been here in good time, is no other person than the President, Institution of Engineers of Kenya, Engineer Shama Kiteme. Please, a round of applause for him. That is the President of Institution of Engineers of Kenya. Is to moderate. And to kickstart the discussion this morning is our own Professor Alonge. Professor Alonge is a professor of agricultural engineering. He's going to speak on a topic on annexing renewable energy for agricultural production. The slides are ready. Please, a round of applause for Professor Alonge, please.
The President, Nigeria Society of Engineers, the Deputy President, security and climate change. So we'll continue from there this morning for a few minutes to talk briefly on harnessing renewable energy for sustainable food production. And I have just a few minutes to make this presentation before we start the discussion. And of course, the other people will join. The subject matter of discussion is very important to us because it's one of the issues being considered when you talk about sustainable engineering solutions to food production. Food production in itself is a component of several things. And that includes the production in its entirety, starting from land preparation through processing of crops and other agricultural materials, as well as preservation and packaging. Is an entire chain. So how do we tackle this problem of or harness the renewable energy for sustaining food production in the country? So that is what I'll be addressing. So briefly, so we will examine this. Please, can I have your attention, everyone? Let's be seated and reduce the discussion for now. Can have more time of networking and discussion thereafter. Thank you as you get seated. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So I will be looking at some renewable energy sources, an overview of energy sources in Nigeria, some environmental current issues, the modern energy gap, and the real subject matter, how do we harness the renewable energy? So, Nigeria is a very big nation. Our population is well over 220 million people. And by the year 2050, we'll be well over 400 million people. There are four basic issues that is very germane with respect to planning for the future. Food is one of them. The second is water. The third one is energy. And of course, in the midst of climate change. How do we get all of this? The nexus between food, water, energy, in the midst of the challenge of climate change, and how do we get that in a sustainable manner to move forward as a nation? Africa is the most bedeviled of all of these continents of the world with these various challenges: food security challenge, water security, energy issues, and climate change. Our population is supposed to be advantageous for us in several ways, Nigeria being the largest country in Africa, and about half of West Africa in terms of population. Biggest exporter of oil in Africa. We have the largest natural gas reserve. And we have a very large mass, out of which about 70% are cultivatable, arable. So we have great potentials in terms of getting several things in place. If you look at this map, the next slide, the available renewable energy sources in Africa, that just gives us an idea of what happens. And energy, we all know, is central to what we do, whether in terms of the last few moments, even though there's energy, there's technical issue in terms of the supply of energy to where I'm speaking at, to the podium here. And the access to energy is very essential to all. One of the Sustainable Development Goals is goal number 7, which is basically to ensure access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all is one of the basic sustainable development goals, which we must deliberately and passionately pursue in order to get ourselves out of the quagmire we have found ourselves as a nation. Sustainable development must be driven by sustainable energy. Energy is very key to several issues. And if you look at our continent, those various sources of energy, they are available. Solar energy, over 80% of the continent receives an average of 2,000 kilowatt hour per meter square per year. Then hydropower, we have a total of available capacity of 300 gigawatts. And also for wind, of course, it's one of the major sources of energy, not just in Nigeria, but in Africa as a whole. And geothermal, I was talking with the moderator a few moments ago, that geothermal, we don't have that in Nigeria, but countries like Djibouti, Eritrea, Kenya, Malawi, Mozambique, Rwanda have those sources potentially. But all of these countries, only Kenya. Sometimes late last year, we were in Kenya at Int'L, where more than 95% of energy generated for supply of power to Kenya is from that source. There are well over 300 wells. And it was quite a beautiful scene. So it was a whole day tour of what they have in Int'L, about 2 hours drive to Nairobi. So Kenya's sources of energy is basically geothermal. But for us in Nigeria, we don't have that. The solar energy is available, hydropower, and biomass, of course, is another renewable energy source in Africa, and for us in Nigeria too. Though over 80% of domestic energy needs is met by biomass, mainly firewood in sub-Saharan Africa. It's no longer like a welcome development. That is what we still find out that is happening in very many rural areas of Nigeria and Africa as a whole. The table next to me, can somebody help me just move to the next slide? The fossil fuel resources and nuclear energy sources, as presented by the former Energy DG Commission of Nigeria, DG, Professor Bala. Now, crude oil reserve is well over 37 billion. And in terms of utilization, of course, that is being utilized, but that is not renewable. That is not renewable. The natural gas, large deposits of natural gas, and that is also being used. Coal is never yet utilized. Tar sand, not utilized, and nuclear as well. If you look at Nigeria, we have the large hydro dams, where we have the potential well over 11,250 megawatts, and only 1,900 is currently being utilized. Then the small hydro dams, about 3,500 megawatts, and 64.5 only being utilized. Of course, solar energy that gets in here. Nigeria is situated between the latitude of 4 and 12 degrees, just above the equator. So we have abundance of solar energy availability in Nigeria, though available and cheap, but the means of conversion is not cheap. It's one of the things area that we need to possibly, though that is being utilized, but to invest more in. Wind energy, 2 to 4 meters per second at 10 meters height reserve, and then the utilization is also still low. Biomass, in terms of fuel wood, municipal waste, animal waste, energy crops, and agric waste, there are several reserves, but the utilization level is very low. Many of our wastes are not converted. Even the municipal wastes are not utilized, not to talk of the crop and agric waste. So If you also look at the current environmental issues, we're talking about climate change. And the climate change is some of the causes of those climate change are issues that has to do with the ozone layer has already been depleted. And issues like soil degradation, the common environmental issue, rapid deforestation, urban air and water pollution, desertification, oil pollution, both water, air, and soil, and the loss of arable land in many instances, either to some of these things like oil spillage. If you look at the first picture on the top on the right, there's a research we've been doing with some of my colleagues. That is a typical site visited somewhere in Rivers State a few years back. When the farmer planted his cassava, the thought of what happened there was not in mind. But shortly after a few weeks, the oil spilled and destroyed more than half of the land. So, and that occurrence is still common in several areas. Now, the second picture now is one of the things you see in terms of erosion, serious gully erosion, and when it gets flooded, it becomes a serious issue. So, rapid urbanization is one of those current issues, as well as gas flaring. Gas flaring, since 1956, when the oil the exploration started, gases have been flared up on a daily basis. There is no reason why gas should be expensive in Nigeria, because we are wasting the gas. Even the NLG is utilizing just few of several places where gases are being flared up. So, bush burning is a common thing when our farmers do their farming activities. And so these are issues that has contributed to serious climate change. And the point now is how do we mitigate climate change issue? How do we utilize renewable energy sources? And if you look at Africa generally, including our country, the energy demand is on the increase. By 2050, the population of the world will be well over 9.3 billion people. And that 9.3 billion people, we need food, we need more water, we need more energy. And so energy is on the increase, the demand is on the increase on a daily basis as the population is increasing. So the sources of energy we rely on as a world at the moment is mainly fossil fuel in Nigeria. So there is a need for more action in terms of deliberate action in diversifying to other areas of renewable energy so that problems that have to do with energy demand can be reduced. And so sources of fossil fuel are becoming harder to find and use, and the fossil fuel produce carbon dioxide when they get burnt to create energy, and this carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas. And you know what happens with the greenhouse emissions, which is one of the challenges of climate change. And so the energy gap is there, but the strategy is how do we reduce the trend in terms of emissions of the various carbon dioxide and hydrocarbons. What options do we have? What can we do? What can we adopt and adapt as a nation in order to stem this challenge? One of the strategies is to use clean energy means, which includes the renewable energy, and that's one of the subjects of our discussion. By that I mean hydro, solar, wind, geothermal, biomass, and small hydro renewable energy sources too. And so, in harnessing the renewable energy for food production, and when we talk about food production, like I said earlier, there are 4 basic things involved. Production in itself, then the second is processing, then the third is preservation, then fourth is packaging. Now, even in the production itself, Now, we pride ourselves as a nation that we are the largest producer of some food items. But then, even though we are the largest producer of these food items, we still lack in those food areas. For example, we are the largest producer of cassava. We are the largest producer of yam. We are one of the largest producers of cowpea, soybean, and the rest. Even though we are the largest producer, we cannot still feed ourselves. The issue is that most of the food we consume, they are from these small farmers, small, older farmers that have possibly between 2 and 4 hectares. And there's no how we can continue to, though we are the largest producer, there's no how we can continue to that and still be able to feed. So the issue is that those small, older farmers, we have to find a way of improving what they do in terms of modernizing the tools, the equipment they use, so that they can be more efficient, we can have more yield, we can get more from them. If you look at some other things in terms of food production, how many mechanized farms do we have? Very small. And so we are largest producer of these crops, but then we have issues. We are still importing some of these food items to the country, and that shouldn't be. So in production itself, which begins with land preparation, land clearing preparation, then tillage processes, then planting, and weeding, and the rest. Even after producing them, we have to process. And all of these in themselves require a huge amount of energy to get those things done. And so, food production is entirety from production, then even in processing, and processing have its own challenge. I was telling them yesterday that even after we produce, well over 30% of what we produce gets lost. Apart from the feed losses, we have losses during processing, we have losses during other issues, even in storage. And so, I quickly highlight some of the things we need to do in terms of harnessing the renewable energy. We need to engage more solar energy, getting solar panels in place to generate electricity, for powering irrigation systems in farm, lighting. A smallholder farmer can have a small solar panels put together in order to do few processes on the farm. And that will improve the yield and the things that smallholder farmer is doing. So solar power is one of the things that can be harnessed properly. Then number 2, the wind power. Of course, we have more of that in the north and coastal areas of the south. And the third is hydropower. If your farm is located near a water source, such as a stream or a river, there's something stopping us to have small dams. And such dams can be utilized. Unfortunately, most of our dams, they are not utilized. Even Basita, where Jeba is supposed to be supplying the water, Jeba is comatose. You know, a lot of sugar was produced. They usually produce sugar there in those days, but now that is less. So, some way, these are some of the things we need to just take note. I'm going to round off from this point. The picture you see there next is the solar farm in India, and that farm, what they are doing is that generate the power, and it's a nearby farm where they are utilizing the power for several issues in terms of powering the irrigation system, cultivation, processing, and the rest, which is some of the things you can actually do as a nation. So thank you so much for your kind attention. I think as we go into the discussion session, we'll be able to look at some other issues in terms of harnessing renewable energy, which includes also water, biomass, and the rest. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentation. I want to just present the 2 other colleagues, presenters, panelists, Representing Professor Garba Hamid Charbuta is Engineer A.O. Ogunjini. Engineer Ogunjini, you're welcome, please. And representing, representing the Director General and CEO of Energy Commission of Nigeria is Engineer Sulu Bolaji. You are welcome.
Thank you very much. We just listened to Engineer Professor Int'L Alonge presenting to us the paper on harnessing renewable energy for sustainable food production. And he has ably taken us through the land preparation, crop production, and post-harvest as various sections that require a renewable energy. And the beauty of tying those together with those sources of renewable energy that we have at our disposal, including wind, hydro, solar, geothermal energy, and of course, my most favorite part is when he mentioned geothermal in Kenya, because we produce a lot of that in Olkaria. So we're going to listen to the second paper so that we can continue with this session. And you will appreciate that the story of Africa is not only that of colonialism, neo-colonialism, wars, and stuff as told, the narrative told by other people, but it's also a story of huge potential, bright people, resilient people. And this conference reminds us of this kind of potential that we have as a continent. And so I invite you as you listen to the second paper presentation. Welcome, Engineer.
The National President, Nigeria Society of Engineers, distinguished fellow of the society, distinguished engineers, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'm here to represent my Director General, that is Dr. Mustafa Abdullahi, who is also one of the brand new fellows of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. My name is Ibrahim Sulu. I'm the Director of Renewable Energy Department in the Energy Commission of Nigeria. Is to speak on the topic, effects of energy management and climate change on food security. Okay. So please, we'll be discussing the following outline: a brief introduction, then climate change and its impacts on food security, the impact of energy management on food security, then the combined effect of these two on food security, and what are our strategies to enhance food security. Next slide. That's because of the exigencies of climate change. Currently, there are a lot of policies and obligations that Nigeria and other countries are obliged to fulfill. And because of that, there are new policies, targets being set. But there is less coordination between the climate component of our policies with other sectors. So to enhance our food security, there must be a very good coordination between the climate change policies and energy security policies. If you have this coordination, then we are bound to have food security. As we just heard from the previous speakers, renewable energy, among other energy mix, are some of the technologies we can deploy to combat climate change and at the same time to enhance our food security. Please. Please, who is controlling? You are rushing, you are going too fast. Okay. Yes. So, if we have an integrated climate change policy and energy policy geared towards food security, this will enhance, will guarantee that our food stays affordable, accessible, and healthy for consumption of humans. Next slide. So, what are the impacts of climate change on food security? Changing weather patterns is one of the impacts of climate change on food security. In some part of Nigeria, the weather has changed drastically. So because of that, some of the food they grow before, they cannot grow it again. Another one is soil degradation and water scarcity. All these are effects of climate change, and they are impacting on food, on agricultural practices, and hence the food security. Then issue of increased pest and disease pressure on crops and animals is another impact of the climate change. Next slide. Okay. So, next slide. The impact of energy management on food security. That in agricultural practices, energy is widely and intensively used. So if you have a very good and robust energy management, this one will make the energy input into agriculture, cheaper, and because of that, it enhance the food production. Today, because of the climate change, renewable energy application is at the forefront of energy utilization. And because of that, there are many renewable energy technologies that have been deployed into farming and animal husbandry. So, effective deployment of this renewable energy technology will enhance food security. Again, the smallholder farmers, as we heard from the last speaker, they have challenges because of the scale of their production. So the same thing applies to energy. So there is need to come up with new energy techniques and technology that will be cost effective for smallholder farmers. Next slide. So, the combined effect of energy management. Thank you. Next slide, please. The combined effect of energy management and climate change on food security. Next. So, when we have a policy that integrates climate change and energy security into the agricultural sector, this will enhance food availability and accessibility. It will make the food to be more nutritious and available everywhere. The stability of food systems, the supply chain, will be enhanced. Next slide. Next slide. So, What are the strategies to mitigate impact and enhance food security? One is adaptation of climate-smart agriculture, that's like the use of water-efficient irrigation systems, precision farming, and drought-resistant crops. Thank you. Yes. The second strategy is improving energy efficiency. Improving agricultural operations, energy efficiency lowers expenses and emissions. For instance, using biogas made from agricultural waste helps reduce waste disposal problems and power farms in a sustainable manner. Then investing in renewable energy, that is promoting the use of solar-powered water pumps, wind energy, and bioenergy can decouple food production from fossil fuel dependency, thus building resiliency against climate change. Another strategy is strengthening food supply chains. That is developing resilient food distribution networks and cold storage solutions powered by renewable energy can reduce post-harvest losses, improve food access, and stabilize markets. Some other strategies under the climate smart agriculture is the issue of drought-resilient crops, conservation agriculture, then decentralized renewable energy, energy-efficient technologies, improving infrastructure and digital solutions, policy and institutional support, that is an inclusive policy and global cooperation. I think this is the last slide, but let me emphasize two things. The climate change policies in Nigeria is domiciled in the Ministry of Environment. Then we have the Ministry of Agriculture, and we have a number of MDAs that are in the energy sector. So today, what the world is saying is there is need for better coordination and integration of the policies among all these stakeholders, so that the activities of one stakeholder will not negatively affect the activities of the other stakeholder. So we need energy security to enhance our food security. And because of this, our climate change targets and obligations must be aligned with our food security and energy security targets and objectives. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Engineer, on that presentation on it was on food. Yeah. Your paper is on? Which paper was this? Yes, I was just consulting because we are going as per the schedule for today, effects of energy management on climate change, on food security, a very important conversation indeed. The climate change and impact on food security is a conversation that, whether we like it or not, must continue. He has advanced the need for coordination between food policy and climate change policies. He has advanced the notion, which we'll all agree, that food needs to be available but also accessible, and that climate change impact has an element of creating water scarcity, in which we need water for farming, etc. Energy input in the agricultural activities for food production is very pertinent for food security from what the engineer has presented to us. And he has suggested new forms of energy and energy technologies need to be developed. He has proposed climate-smart agriculture like drought-resistant crops, decentralized renewable energy, and precision irrigation technologies. Please clap for him for that wonderful presentation. Our next presenter is going to come over and take us through the next paper. I request we cooperate so that we can listen to the presentation. Welcome, engineer.
Thank you. Good morning, Madam President, my Deputy President, the distinguished past President, fellows, members, everybody in the hall. This is a presentation by Professor Amidu Garuba Sharubutu, the Executive Secretary of ARCN, being presented by me, Engineer Dr. O.A. Ogunjiri, representing him here today. ARCN, known as Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria, has a vision to reduce poverty and increase food security by contributing to the establishment of sustainable agricultural growth and development in Nigeria. The mission of ARCN is to achieve significant improvement in agricultural productivity, marketing, competitiveness by generating appropriate technologies and policy options, promoting innovation, establishing a knowledge management capacity, and strengthening the agricultural research system. ARCN has 14 mandates. I wouldn't want to bore you on telling you each mandate, but you will see as it goes. We have to advise the federal government on national policies, priorities in agricultural research, training, and extension activities. I want us to know, when you are talking of agricultural research, it goes beyond, it has to do with mechanization, processing, and packaging, up to consumption. All those forms, the nucleus of what you call agricultural research. Then we have to plan, manage, conduct, and promote research, human resource development, and technology generation, assessment, and adoption for the advancement of all aspects of agriculture in Nigeria. We prepare periodic master plans. The fourth, ensure the implementation of the approved master plan so that we are properly guided, and we are guiding all other research institutes and NARIs that are under ARCN. Because if there's no master plan, everybody will be working in disarray. Participate through consultative process in the appointment of directors of agricultural research institutes established under university status. Prescribe and give policy direction. The seventh one, supervise research, training, and extension activities of all research institutes established under Section 17 of the Act establishing ARCN. Then,
We prepare annual budget for agricultural research, training, and extension programs of the institutes under its aegis and receive grants for allocation to the institutes for the implementation of the annual programs and to universities and other bodies for special research training projects or research training projects. Maintain an up-to-date record of all existing facilities for research. Advise the federal government on the reorganization of existing institutes, which has brought so many other research institutes under ARCN. Then, promotion of collaboration between scientists engaged in research, training, and extension in the agricultural sciences in Nigeria and their counterparts in other countries or international bodies. Establish and maintain a national agricultural science library, documentation center, and publish or sponsor the publication of research results in the agricultural sciences. And finally, which is the 14th, carry out such activities as may be deemed by the Council to further the advancement of research, training, and extension in the agricultural science. Having said all these mandates, which are 14 in number, the key focus area of ARCN are research, training, extension services, and collaboration. This summarizes everything that is being done under ARCN. And in ARCN, there are 16 national agricultural research institutes. We have CRANE, that's Cocoa Research Institute, NIFRI, National Institute for Fisheries Research in New Busa, Nigerian Stock Product Research Institute, National Root Crop Research Institute, National Veterinary Research Institute, Lakeshard Research Institute, National Cereals Research Institute, Nigerian Institute for Oceanography and Marine Research, Rubber Research Institute of Nigeria, National Horticultural Research Institute in Ibadan, Nigerian Institute for Oil Palm Research, National Center for Agric Mechanization, Institute for Agricultural Research, National Agricultural Extension Research Licensing Services, National Animal Production and Research Institute, Institute of Agricultural Research and Training. All these research institutes come together to attend to agricultural needs that is facing agricultural production in Nigeria. And if you take time to go through, it has mechanization involved, which is engineering. And we have INSPRI, INCAM, NIHOT, IAR, NIFOR, and the likes that are working that are purely research in engineering. And they are actually churning out products and research outputs. Under ARCN, we have 16 federal colleges of agriculture. 16 federal colleges of agriculture. Federal College of Animal Health and Production Technology. Federal College of Fisheries and Marine Technology. Federal College of Veterinary and Medical Laboratory, Federal College of Land Resources Technology, Federal College of Horticulture, Federal College of Agriculture, Federal College of Produce Inspection and Stored Products Technology, Federal College of Animal Health and Production Technology, Federal College of Agriculture in Ibadan, Federal College of Freshwater Fisheries, Federal College of Freshwater Fisheries Technology, Federal College of Agriculture, Ishiagu, Federal Cooperative College, Federal Cooperative College, both in Ibadan and Kaduna, Federal College of Land Resources Technology, Owerri, Federal Cooperative College, Oji River. International engagement. The ARCN under the ES, Professor Garuba Amidu Sharubutu, collaborates with CGIR, AATF, CABI, and CORAF, or otherwise known as WICAD. FARA, if IFPRI, SITSAT, and the likes. We also have international engagement with Global Research Alliance, Africa Forum for Agricultural Advisory Services. We have some modicums of achievement, which I would like to just browse through. The administrative block of ARCN is ongoing. The new office complex is also ongoing, and this is how it will look when it's finished. The ARCN Vet Clinic is completed. The ARCN Radio Museum and Agricultural E-Library building is completed. The ARCN Radio and TV is also operational and functional. The museum is also in place, and we are working towards standardizing it, collection of agricultural research, artifacts and data, curation of items, launch of museum, review and update of artifacts. We have the ARCN E-Library functional. We have a public-private partnership, which is what we are preaching to every other person. We have publications of agricultural research results and releases of technologies. That one we cannot capture all here because there are so many. We take the whole day to discuss the technology that ARCN is churning out. And we extend technology, we extend our activities through adopted villages, adopted schools, and agricultural research outreach centers. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Engineer, for that presentation and ably representing Professor Hamidu Sharubutu. We have picked a few things on research output, innovative concepts on climate change adaptation, and the great effort ARCN is doing. And I think it's interesting and refreshing to note that the research does not just focus on crop, but also on mechanization, processing, and packaging, which basically is an area of interest for us as engineers. But also the advancement of all aspects of agriculture in Nigeria, which is a very big thing to feed over 220 million. I'm sure it is a gargantuan task. But you have also touched on food master plan for the country, and hence research, training, and extension programs, but also most critically, collaboration, which is very critical. I think I will later ask you, after the audience, if they have questions, how much we are spending on research and development, because if we are to own our space, if we had to tell our story, then we must be at the forefront of cutting-edge research. I mean, I don't know how many of us from Africa are able to have been awarded the Nobel laureate in physics, in chemistry, and all that. I think we have done well in literature. I think we have seen Wole Soyinka and others here. But I don't know whether we have such laureates in chemistry, in physics, and these kind of areas. You have now listened to the presenters. I want to invite questions from the audience. And our first presenter, Professor Akinde, please come over. If there's a question for you, you can respond from here. Yes, Professor, come over. Professor Longa, yes. Now, I want to see the questions, then I allocate. Over here, I'm seeing one question. Don't drop your hands. One question. You'll respond. You'll ask a question. Over here, we will have this question. Question here. Over there. Yes, sir. In a cup. Yes, you. So we'll start with you. Yeah. Give the roving mic. Please say the presenter you are directing your question to, and then you ask your question.
All right, thank you very much. My name is Engineer Dr. Esenudwa from the University of Uyo. My question goes to the first paper presenter. It appears to me, in the search for solutions to food security, agricultural experts and scientists play down on the physical insecurity in the country, which has greatly impacted negatively and hindering our farmers' access to plantation farms, especially in the northern part of the country. Is this particular factor, which is hampering food production, not significant enough for agricultural engineers to be concerned? I have not heard somebody mention this. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Physical insecurity. Yes, sir.
Thank you. My name is Engineer Majo Nogbe Adebayo from Ikeja branch. Also, I appreciate all the presenters for the beautiful presentations. Thank you so much. And my own question is to all of them. My concern is this: we know the problem, we know the solutions, but when are we going to cross from the platform of telling us this one want to do, these are the problems? When are we moving on to implications? When are we going to address the issue that these are the things we have done, instead of telling us what we're going to do and the problems? When are you going to act on it? We have the solutions. When are we going to move to that end? Thank you so much.
Okay.
Yeah, the one in the cup.
Good morning, gentlemen and ladies. I'm Engineer Yo Ali. I work for SPDC. My question is to the gentleman from ARNC. First of all, thank you very much for the set of information that you put out there. My question is around, having looked at the sheer number of research institutions that are under your organization, the Federal College of Education is quite a lot. What I miss in your presentation, for instance, and I would have loved to hear, is how this institution collectively are helping to dial down our food-driven inflation that is really punishing everyone in the country. I really would have loved to see how these institutions are helping in that direction. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much. Yes, sir, with a red, with a maroon, something. You. Please, give him the mic. One last hand.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Engineer Kayode Ayeni from Egmi branch. Thank you for that presentation, the last speaker. My concern is that most of all those AR institutes that you spoke about, we're just hearing for the first time. I'm also a farmer. I hold some considerable number of acres. But I have not seen your impact. Since over 20 years, I've started farming. And these research institutes are there on paper. Are they there on land?
Thank you. Thank you. One last question over here. The man in white.
Okay, thank you. I'm Engineer Nnamdi Ibe, a fellow of the society from NSC Maitama branch. My question goes to the representative from the Energy Commission of Nigeria. I was able to understand your explanation, but I was not able to get what Energy Commission of Nigeria is doing to help in food security. I was able to hear from you if they were able to give farmers, this renewable energy, solar energy, if they were able to help them in engaging in food production and processes within their locations. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Engineer Dr. Ikotun Adewale, the chairman of Oloyole branch. My input to this discussion is to let us understand that the subjects of this team was put together by the HQ because it's also a concern to us. And of course, we know after the discussion, the next thing will be for us to recommend some policies for the policymakers. Now, my input goes this way. If you look at one of the initiatives of the federal government of today, immediately they remove the fuel subsidy and they discover it's going to hit the masses. They came up with this compressed natural gas initiative. And look at the strategy of implementation. The federal government is now giving 100% installation for all commercial vehicles in the country. That is a grant. Now this can go the way the renewable energy. In foreign countries, renewable energies are given as a grant or subsidies for homes and farms who intend to implement solar projects. So it should be our recommendation for the Energy Commission to come up with this equivalent strategy that if a farmer is having a budget of X amount of naira to implement a solar project, there should be a grant so that he can implement this. And this will go a long way to ease the pressure on our food security in the country. Thank you.
Thank you. The last question is from past President Adebola. Please.
Thank you very much. Mine is indeed is not a question. I want to bring to the memory of the NSC the conference that we held in 2010 on climate change. A lot of decisions were made which were put in a communique to government which raised methodology for mitigation and the role of the engineer in carrying this out. I believe that 10 years, is it 14 years forward, the NSC has not been able to have any contact with anybody to the effect that any of the items of the communique has been considered. Now, 14 years ahead, we have serious climate change situation, and we have all these very exciting suggestions. I believe that we need to advise government to move away from just ministerial conferences or ministerial committees dealing with this, and to involve the professionals so that they can offer the best advice which can be taken immediately. That's number one. Number two, somebody mentioned something about climate smart
Agriculture.
Yes, agriculture. Well, that smacks on genetically modified products. I believe that if we are going to adopt any of this, as nice as they look, we must examine them in full detail and ensure that there are no terrible side effects therefrom. That's another one. Then, as I said, we have this council, as many have said. I know some of the institutions mentioned in the council, and I knew them when I was young. Now, they are worse than they were when I knew them. So what's really happening? Nobody can get the handle on all research. They should allow the institutions to do their research and find a government hub and public and private sector hub where they can deposit their research findings, and the private sector and all that needed can go and fetch them. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So we are going to respond, the panelists will respond to those questions, but we have also received 3 written ones. The one is to the last presenter. With all those institutes involved in agriculture and food production, as many as they are, why are we still hungry? The other question, why are these materialized research institutes not functioning normally? Are they underfunded or no allocation allocated to them? And the last one is, I would like to be corrected, but I have a big concern that we keep blowing big grammar instead of making things simple. I know of a Nigerian engineer living and operating somewhere in Kwara State, and his company fabricates tractors and other agricultural tools and equipment hinged to engines manufactured overseas. Don't you think I lost that. Don't you think that if we engineers partner with this engineer to mass manufacture agricultural tools, machines, and equipment, it will help to make food surplus in Nigeria? Should we not be fully into solar panel manufacture in Nigeria for mass irrigation of large farms? Engineer Ruben Ebo. So I want to invite the representative of ECN to respond to the questions, then RCN, like that. We finish the session.
Thank you for the questions. I think I have 3 questions. One, the mandate of Energy Commission is to coordinate, to make strategic plan and coordinate national policies in the field of energy in all its ramifications. So anything we are doing is within this limit. So, but what has been our contribution to what we are discussing? To integrate the policies, Energy Commission of Nigeria has produced the national energy policies, the national energy policy that has the chapters on different end-use side and the supply side. The end-use side is the energy utilization in transport, in industry, in residential sector, commercial service sector, including agricultural sector. So based on our responsibility in the policy that we developed, we've proposed this, what needs to be done. Aside that, we also have mandate to establish pilot projects and carry out R&Ds. The output of our R&Ds has led to energy efficient stove dissemination in Nigeria today. What is the importance of this? Fuel wood consumption in Nigeria is still around 60–70% by the population. So the fuel wood need is exercising pressure on our environment and causing climate change. But with this efficient cook stove, the impact is reducing. So based on our mandate, this is some of the little things we can do in terms of physical infrastructure. The responsibility to ensure food security is on the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security. So, but if they need assistance of any other MDAs in what they are doing, it is the ministry that need to reach out to other MDAs for the assistance. I mean, as somebody has proposed to make available this renewable energy technology, to make the renewable energy technology available to farmers. It is not our responsibility. It is the responsibility of the Federal Ministry of Agri and Food Security. But when they need technical experts about this energy technology, I mean, Energy Commission of Nigeria and other energy institutions are ready to collaborate with them. Lastly, to address some of these issues, I think one of the recommendations is to look at our budgeting systems. Every year we pass budget. The way we pass budget and budget are allocated are not assisting the development of and the localization of some of this technology. So there is need to make recommendations to the National Assembly or the federal government on how to improve our budgeting system. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that response. I want to invite our colleague and presenter representing ARCN to respond to the questions.
Thank you. One of the questions says insecurity effect on agri production. Most times we overblow the problem than the solution. Most of us, we are staying somewhere and we are living somewhere. Wherever we are living, we are secured. That's why we are living there. If each of us here could plant vegetable, no matter how little, in his compound, do some little poultry in his compound, do some little crop production, that will lessen the stress on the need for mass production. Because we will have met some of the basic needs that affects us. So we will not be also demanding on the ones that are required by the other people. So there's need for us to also take some action on our own, not to over-rely on people that must feed us. Most of us, what we do, we put tiles and interlocking tiles in our compound that could have been used for some production purposes. At your backyard, instead of putting interlocking tiles there, you can as well convert it to farm, little farm that can meet some of your needs. Now, let me also say, under ARCN, we have spin-off companies that have been encouraged. This spin-off company is to be established by the research institutes, whereby they'll be serving the populace in their own location and across board. Also,
please, can we maintain some silence? Thank you.
Somebody said that the research institutes are not hard, and it has been practicing for almost 20 years. I'm sure maybe
There are many research institutes that have been operational and they are churning out results. I'm sure if you take time to look at what you are cultivating or planting, it's a product of a research institute in Nigeria. Increase producing seeds for rice. Some are producing seeds for plant cultivation, but most of us, we just run down this institute as if they are doing nothing. They're actually working. We have Badegi, we have Oil Palm Research Institute. They have, and people are going there. NIHOT is there in Ibadan, and people are buying seeds from them. So you might have been using the output of ARCN Research Institute without you knowing, because they are there across the country performing. If you talk of mechanization, you talk of income that has been bringing up several mechanization outputs and serving the populace across the country. And Int'L is also there, producing various, even the thematic drum that they are using to store beans is there. How many of us are accessing it? So the thematic drum can store beans for almost 1 year without adding any chemical. So these are things we should be promoting, and we are extending all these technologies. Our own governor, Umara Zulum, bought about 1,000 units of that thematic drum and took it to Borno State. And it may shock you that the states surrounding Int'L may not have even accessed one. So some of these things are there. It's for our policymakers, drivers of the economy to access them, because the institute are not funded to be supplying it to those locations, but they are to be accessed and used by the populace. Now, let me talk on the last one, which is how tools will get to the farmers. How do we mass produce them? It's very simple. Income is producing some machinery, some technologies, and they're available. But we cannot mass produce. It will interest you that a company from Egypt is trying to access some of Income's technology to start mass producing. Our big men that are in this country, they should learn that there's money in mass producing these technologies, so that it can meet the need of the populace. If somebody in Egypt will be coming to access technology in Nigeria to mass produce, what are the private companies doing? We are not supposed to mass produce. We are to bring it, proven technologies, make it available for companies to mass produce. We get our royalty and they serve the people. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The first question that has to do with me here is the physical security in some of those places. Yes, we don't make light of that. It's a major issue. In fact, that has led to why some farmers deserted the farm and started doing some other things. I know some of our leaders have started attacking this issue. It's not something individuals can do alone. Corporate bodies may do theirs by getting security in place, some of those farmers. But then, if the government can tackle it headlong, we cannot but talk about our governor, Governor Zulum. In Borno State, he has done a lot in terms of providing security for farmers there. Many of those people have been resettled to their farms. We have visited, one of those times we were with him in Maiduguri. He took us around Maiduguri, where Boko Haram did a lot of havoc. But since he came on board, some of those things have been stemmed down. And some of those farmers are already in their farms producing food. In fact, like you heard him said, the other time he took a tour to Ibadan, Ilorin, and some of these places. Some of those available technologies within the country. I mean, he bought 1,000 Amatic storage system from Int'L, which already been distributed to farmers. So if other governors can do the same, some of these issues will be tackled. So we don't make light of physical security. It's a major issue, but I think it has to do with how the federal government and the state governments can find solution to that. Individuals can do little, but not much. But whatever little they can, please let them do. So it's a major issue that must be addressed. Let me also add that somebody talked about the fact that we have been having these conferences here and there. What is the essence of it? Well, three basic things I want to say there. What has to do with individuals, corporate bodies like NSC, then government. Government cannot do everything. And when we talk about government, who is the government? So individuals must rise up and do some form of farming, some form of cultivation, either at home or whatever. And that will reduce the need for mass production, like you rightly said. So that is very important. But that is not to say that we should now not conference, because from conferences like this, we get information, we get knowledge, and knowledge is very vital to solving problems. So that is what I want to say. Whatever we can do as individuals, please let us do. Whatever NSC can do, NSC should do. Whatever our various divisions and branches can do. I know some divisions of NSC that are into several solutions given to communities, rural areas, and that is part of the solution. But we can intensify effort in these areas in ensuring that we do our best to make contributions to reducing the challenge of food security. Then the other issue has to do with research is funding. There is somehow we will develop as a nation without funding research. We are not going anywhere if we don't fund research. Because with some research, we get new varieties of various things. There's a cassava we plant now. The name is TMS 419. 419 is a product of research. Several years ago, there is no 419 cassava. Why they call it 419 is because ordinarily looking at that cassava stem doesn't look attractive. But then, by the time you harvest, very high yield, it's a product of research. And that is what most farmers are planting now. 6 months, you are okay. So we cannot play down on research. But the point is we must fund research. And research has to be for development. Not just research, it must be intentional. Like you rightly said, there are several technologies that have been proven. And in the midst of various challenges, I still want to make a note that one of the good areas where a lot of things have been done is our cassava value chain is almost fully developed. From harvesting, Int'L have developed cassava planter, cassava harvester, and a person like Niji Lucas visiting his farm, you see high quality cassava will be produced under 6 hours. Harvest, feed it in, goes through the grating system, get it transferred, washing, cleaning, and we flash dryer. After 6 hours, the high quality cassava flour is produced. So Nigeria is not doing bad when it comes to value addition for cassava. But the same story is not the same for other crops we have. And most of these crops we have, we must develop the technologies that will help our nation to add value to what we have. Because one of the things beveling all is we are not adding value to so many of the things we do. Thank you.
Please, let me invite the Deputy President for section picture and presentation to our panelists. Please, a round of applause for Engineer Rabiu, FNSC, Far Eng, Shigerin Lafia, MFR. You take a picture first. Again? Yes. One after the other, please. Please, Judge, you can help her. Please. Just give me anyone. Give me anyone so far they are here.
Anyone, yes.
Sure. Okay.
Samuel Shukonmi, if you are in this hall, please, I would need your attention. And Onyebuchi Nwabweze Mogbo, thank you. Samuel Shukonmi, Onyebuchi Nwabweze.
Okay. Engineer Mustafa, Dr. Mustafa is energy. Yes. So,
This one for Engineer Longe. Then we'll collect it back.
Don't make it.
This one is for the moderator, yes.
Our moderator?
Yes. He's a very good one, but you have to give him extra dollars for Texas mortgage.
You need to produce some for me. Yes, no, I have already on that one. So please, all have cover. Okay. Have a cover. What?
For him.
Okay. Just keep his own. I'm just like
Okay. So the other person said you're calling for.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Mr. Deputy President. We have before we end this section, we are inviting the representative of BOI, Bank of Industry, for some minutes. Please, what's the name? Come in. You have a slide. Bank of Industry is one of our strategic partners in this conference. So we listen to their representative.
Yes. Good morning, fellow engineers. Good morning, our president in absentia. Good morning, the deputy president of NSC. I'm standing on all established protocol. My name is Paquins Irabo. I'm the divisional head, Bank of Industry, South, and Southeast. And I bring to you good news of good tidings. I'm here to let you know that every deliberation, every suggestion, every solution that we have canvassed here, if only we can create a business enterprise that is profitable and sustainable to solve the problem of food security, to solve the problem of climate change, funding is not your problem. I am an engineer, and I am not given to making people to be excited for nothing. I work in the bank. I have spent over 18 years in Bank of Industry, and I know we do what we were created to do, transforming the Nigeria industrial sector. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me appreciate you that you have chosen one profession that God himself is in it. Engineering is God's own profession. And this team, the team of our conference this year, is helping God to solve two major problems. There are 5 problems you can solve on earth with business, and you will not only make money on earth, you will also go to heaven. How many of you want to go to heaven after doing business on earth? And among the 5 businesses you can do that can make you wealthy on earth and send you to heaven, food and climate change is part of it. One Jewish leader, which our Muslim brothers call a prophet, and Christians call him a savior, he said this is the way he will choose those that will go to heaven. He will tell them, he will separate the goat and the sheep. And he will say to the goat, I was hungry and you did not feed me. And that is why you will go to hell. What is that kind of business? Anytime somebody make a demand on food and you supply, you're in business. True or true? He said, I demanded food and you were the one that solved my food demand. So you will go to heaven. So if you want to go to heaven, please be in the business of food security. How many of you are already doing the business of food? Let me know those that I will meet in heaven. So we are going to be happy that in heaven, we will say there are a lot of engineers that are in heaven because they were solving the problem of food. He said, I was sick and you visited me. That means I have problem with health and you were the one that solved the problem. What kind of business is that? What kind of business is that? Business of healthcare. And engineering play a lot of role in healthcare because there is what we call medical engineering. All the equipment you use in Medicare is a product of engineering work. So if you are in that business, either you are manufacturing or you are distributing medical equipment, you will go to heaven. How many of you are in that line that will go to heaven? So I will stop at that to let you know that we have chosen a very good team for this year. And Bank of Industry have the resources to support any business. Please, let us not ever undermine the role of business. Conferences may not solve our problem. Talk will not solve our problem. But if a man can rise up and create a business solution that is providing value for the society, you will definitely solve the problem. So my fear here is that, are we willing to stand up as individuals and create business and turn this solution into values and turn it into products and services? The days of asking for government, why can't government do this? Please let it be over. If we have waited for over 64 years and we still think that we could change Nigeria by saying government do this, we are wasting our time. I can tell you there are individuals in this hall that have already benefited from Bank of Industry's facility. And it is the cheapest in town. We call ourselves God's own bank. Do you know why we call ourselves God's own bank? We only take 10% as interest rate. 10% per annum. If you are spiritual, you will understand what I'm talking about. So we only take 10%. It is not 10% per month. It is 10% per annum divided by 12. That is the percentage you are paying on a monthly basis. If you can fail, if you cannot succeed doing business with 10% loan, then you are not in business. That's just the truth. So ladies and gentlemen, I will reel out now some ideas that can change Nigeria. In this hall, we have what it takes to change Nigeria. Just in this hall, and I will tell you how you will get it done. The first thing is that whenever a group of people come together as one and say they want to do a business, they become like God. And it is only business that make a group of people to come together and say, let us do this. So imagine the NSC, all the engineers, we come up with a cooperative and say, let us begin to address the business that we all complain about. The problem we face in Nigeria is that we are trying to address a common problem individually. It never works. If, for example, you live in an estate and you say, why must I buy generator? My neighbor buy generator. Can we have a cooperative where we can buy a generator and it serve all of us? That problem is solved. True or true? If you come up with that in your estate, come to Bank of Industry. Don't use your money to fund that generator. Bank of Industry will provide you the money to buy the generator for you to service your estate. All you need to commit is that we will be disciplined to pay our common business, which is the cooperative. That has solved the problem. This is where the acid test is. Can we actually work together as one? Or are we so selfish that when we succeed, we believe in a better pass my neighbor mentality? You want to be blessed and others are not blessed. That is the problem we are facing. Remove that. If we want to solve a common problem together, there is no more problem. Then let's tackle the issue of education. Why in this day must our children go through 5 years reading engineering and come out? I read mechanical engineering. I came out, I couldn't have boasted that I can design an equipment that will be functional. True or true? I'm not trying to. I'm very clever. With all my intelligence, they brought me out of that system. I cannot fix my car as a mechanical engineering student.
Thank you,
Neither
sir.
could I design my car. So what we are proposing, just a minute, what we are proposing, can engineers go back to school and create sustainable business in each department that is servicing the community and while is training our children in the school? If you have that kind of business, Bank of Industry can fund you.
Let's put our hands together for BOI.
Have I spent up to 10 minutes?
But that's your 10%.
I said 10 minutes.
So please, if you want to...
Have I spent up to 10 minutes?
Yeah. You people will pay tithe, 10%. Let's go. Thank you.
I'll be rounding up. Sorry.
No, that's a presidential order.
So, I am here with other of my colleagues, and I knew that there won't be enough time for us to answer all the questions. How do you assess Bank of Industry? How do I prepare myself? So what I have done with the Institute, there is a division of NSC called the Institute of Appraisers and Cost Engineers. We have created a webinar on the 30th of November, and it will be circulated. The president is aware of it. It will be circulated through the platform of NSC so that all engineers can register on that platform. And we can have quality time for you to ask all the questions on how to assess the fund that Bank of Industry have. Only this year, the presidency gave Bank of Industry 200 billion, 75 billion for manufacturers and 75 billion for MSME. So we'll be breaking down how you can assess that fund. It is meant for you. That is not even 10%. That is 9% all inclusive. No appraisal fee, no commitment fee, nothing. Just 9%. So we'll be sharing that link so that you can participate. My name again is Pakwin Sirabo, and I love you all.
Thank you. You are a good marketer. I think we need to have all these things in handbills. Please, without wasting your time, we want to invite past President Olorofemi for a 3-minute discourse with the Division of Environment. Please, 3 minutes. Don't exceed your time, my distinguished past President.
Mr. President, who is seated, the Deputy President and the Chairman of this branch, past presidents, very distinguished colleagues. I am privileged to chair the advisory board of a partnership between NSC Mercantile Branch and our Division on Environment, NIEE. Since about 4 years ago, the immediate past chairman of Mercantile Branch, past chairman of Mercantile Branch, Engineer Professor Obux, got a grant on air pollution monitoring, and the center is in Lagos, UNILAG. So the grant involves competition among researchers, students, and their teachers to compete every year. It's been successful so far. That of last year, I'm going to invite the past chairman of the Environment Division, Sheson Odukoya, engineer, to present the winner of last year with a very short clip. Professor Olaoye. Professor Olaoye. The clip. Yeah. Sheson, please come upstairs. Gentlemen, hello, please come upstairs.
While we're waiting for the clip, the Institution of Environmental Engineers with Manchester branch met about 4 years, like you said, and to ask people to develop the local detection equipment for air quality monitoring. And successfully, we have done it for the past 2 years, and the 3rd year is here. So at the end of the thing, we have 3 winners. And what we are expecting them to do is that let them develop the monitoring equipment, because we found that 4.5 billion deaths comes from poor air quality. And that's why we wanted to, as a division, we took it along to solve the problem in a way to develop in the air quality. And we had in the first year we had 4 people, 4 universities and a team. In the second year we have 4 people, also 4 teams also. And this last year we had Rivers State University, we have University of Calabar, and we have University of Lagos with their team. And they developed the equipment. This will give you real-time results on air quality monitoring. And that tells you that it can tell you the level of quality of the air, wherever you find yourself, and we can do it in the local content within our community. That is part of the equipment that has been developed, and that's why at our meeting, we asked them that, okay, if you can do it for us, we will give you a presentation. So with our team, the team was the first one to take 300 pounds, the second one will take 150 pounds, and the other one will take 150 pounds. But when we did it last year, we could not give them their gifts, and today we are here to present their gifts of converted to 500,000 as a winner. It's not a gift, but as a prize for the team that won the competition. So this morning, I'll call on my deputy president. President, please come up and present them with the cash reward of the 500,000 cash, as for the effort for them to be able to do more in the following year, because it's a yearly program. Thank you very much for me. My president, please come up. You please want to say anything? Can you tell us the quality of the air here?
All right, presently here, the device is able to capture the particulate matter 10 and particulate matter 2.5. The particulate matter 2.5 is 54.3 micrograms per meter cube. And the temperature here is 31.8 degrees Celsius with the humidity of 44.4%. So this device is able to capture real time the particulate matter and some other air pollutants that is in this air. Thank you.
Very distinguished engineers, on behalf of the President, I'd like to commend the Nigerian Institution of Environmental Engineers for this laudable project. And of course, our diaspora branch in Manchester. What we have been telling the divisions is to be able to learn to be able to develop local content and build indigenous capacities. Now, NIEE has taken the initiative in conjunction with Manchester branch, and you deserve to be commended. Thank you very much and congratulations. May I invite the chairman of the Board of Board of Trustees, I beg your pardon, past President E.J.S. Ujaman, to help me present this huge sum of money, 500,000. It's huge.
Thank you very much, Deputy President. And it is the love of all that our people are producing things for us to see, not theorizing only. Thank you very much for this. On behalf of
Nigerian Environmental Division.
On behalf of Nigeria Division with Manchester branch, I present this to you for winning the award. Congratulations.
Thank you very much and congratulations. How about this? Thank you very much and congratulations. Please, let's take these few announcements. Onyebuchi Nwabueze, please see me or anybody who knows him. Samuel Shunkomi or anybody who knows him to tell him to please see me is very, very important. Then we shall be closing this session now. Just listen to the few announcements that we have. The next panel discussion, section 2, that will be led by the captains of industries and partners, will commence at 12:30 p.m. So by 12:30, we should be back here. We will be proceeding for lunch now. For the delegates, you will take your lunch at the back of this conference hall, the back. Fellows and council members, your lunch, you will take it just to my left, where you have the green and white decorations. Go through the door and you will have your lunch. To our VIPs, the president, our international delegates, you know where you had your lunch yesterday, to my right and upstairs. And please, may I request that all those for the poster sessions to please take position where you put your posters and get ready, as the assessors and technical committee will join you. We shall converge here at 12:30 p.m. prompt to continue with the panel discussion sections. Thank you very much and see you by 12:30. Samuel Shukomi, see me, very important.
Conference here at the Abuja Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Your safety is our top priority. Please take a few moments to watch this important safety briefing. In the event of an emergency, please remain calm and follow the directions of our trained fire wardens. Emergency exit signs are clearly marked in the Trade and Convention Center, the venue of the 2024 NSE conference, to guide you to safety. You'll find the main exits at the back and sides of the conference hall. Take a moment to identify the nearest